Hey, my love, welcome to this week's of Astrology and Archetypes. Okay, sorry about the lighting. I don't know, the sun keeps going in and out, so the lighting may probably change a little bit in this video as we go through the energy. All right, so I do need to give my disclaimer and let you guys know that this message is not for everyone, so you want to go ahead and take what you need, leave what you don't. Energy is fluid, and these messages are really timeless. Although we are time stamping where the energies are on a collective nature, you could be experiencing this type of energy in your own personal chart at any given time. All right. So if the message resonates, keep what you need, leave what you don't, shelf what you don't understand in case you need to circle on back for some confirmation, information, inspiration, or motivation. Right. I also want to let you know that you are your own guru. So access is going to be granted to you based on your inner knowing and your belief system. All right. So with that being said, I love studying patterns. I love studying archetypes, and I love studying energy because these are things that helps me to master who I am, right? With that being said, we just transited out of Taurus and now we're in Gemini. So the energy that we are going to be experiencing as a collective in Gemini is going to be different from the energy that we experience in Taurus, okay? Taurus was more grounded earth energy that had a lot to do with the materialistic realm. Now that we've entered Gemini, this energy has to do more with your thoughts, okay? So it's more about your thinking and your thought process. Now, this is going to be a transition where you have an opportunity to tap into your light and your dark side, right? The twins is Gemini energy, and it's also known as energy that can be two-faced and likes to play one side against the next, right? This energy can also be the social butterfly, very charming energy, loves to network, okay? But it can also be very surface energy and not really engaging in the deep or the depth of feelings, okay? Because remember, this is energy that has to do more with your mental, your thinking, okay? Gemini's energy that you're going to be dealing with for the next 4 weeks is going to be hugely based around communication. And communication is not just speaking, but communication is also listening, okay? And learning. So, I ask you to be open this month as you're going to be experiencing on a collective. Okay, we're all going to be experiencing the archetype of Gemini for the next 4 weeks, and you have an opportunity to tap into your light and your dark side. Okay, now, I always talk about there is no good and bad to your experience. There's only just an experience. It's kind of like tasting a particular dish, okay? Like you may like catfish. Somebody else may not like the texture of catfish, so they just decide that they're not going to engage in eating catfish, all right? You are not to take any of this personal. You are to recognize that you are going through an experience and you're learning yourself as well as you're learning and figuring out other people. And the goal is growth and self-evolution here, okay? Now, with us knowing exactly what Gemini has to offer to us this month, this gives us an opportunity, like I said, to tap into both aspects of yourself, okay? Your feminine and your masculine, which is your intuition, your creativity, your imagination, and then you have your logical and your intellect portion, okay? So you're able to tap into these different aspects of yourself. Now, with the moon being in Scorpio, and let me just let you know, the moon is going to be in Scorpio from, what is it? Is today the, I want to say today is the 21st, right? But the moon entered Scorpio last night at about 10:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am, and it's going to be exiting Scorpio on the 23rd, okay? So from now until Thursday morning, what you're going to be experiencing is a lot of intense energy. Scorpio energy is emotional energy, okay? This is water energy. So you can find people communicating from a deeper level with this Scorpion energy or want to talk about the deeper things. Now, the balance here is... The balance is Scorpio is going to be driving the energy of Gemini. for the next 3 days, okay, or the next 2.5 days. So this energy may be intense. This energy may ask people to tap into some inner self-control, which means that some people, if they're not doing their work, you can find them very explosive in this energy, especially when they're communicating things, very intense and very passionate when they're communicating things, right? And you can also find within this energy that the Scorpion energy is producing, it's kind of like producing the, and I'm hearing Inspector Gadget type energy, right? So people are going to be coming with their receipts, or maybe I want to say paying attention to what you say, but also what you don't say. All right. You may find that if people are not doing their work within this next 2.5 days, or they have not been doing their work with this energy, they're going to be communicating maybe some energy of why they don't find that loyalty dwells within you, or why they find that they're angry, or maybe even feeling a little bit of animosity towards you, or animosity towards a particular situation. You can also find that people can be very withdrawn within the next 2.5 days, especially around things that affect them on a deep emotional level. All right. You can find that some people may want to dig deeper into whatever is going on, and be able to openly communicate about that. But the flip side to that is some people may not want to do that. So energetically, within the next 2.5 days, you have an opportunity to transform. You have an opportunity to talk about things from a deeper level that has been bothering you, whether it's financial things, whether it's relationship things, whether it's career driven things. There is going to be an opportunity for you to speak to whomever you need to about whatever is bothering you, or whatever needs to be changed, okay? And especially looking at not just what's hurting, or what was painful, or what felt like rejection or projection, but also being able to identify the purpose of things, the purpose for having this conversation, the purpose for talking about these things, right? Some people will have to trust that although they may intensely want to have this conversation, let's say at 9 a.m., be open for the conversation not to happen until 9 p.m., right? Because some people may have to get comfortable within themselves to know that the conversation is going to take place. So it's kind of like they have to prepare themselves, okay? So just be mindful of that. Some people may have to prepare themselves for the conversation. So while you're in that Scorpion energy from now until early Thursday morning, you may find that the conversation may not happen until early Thursday morning, even though you thought it may happen on Tuesday evening. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Pay attention also as you're moving throughout this energy from the 21st to the 23rd. You want to pay attention to toxic patterns and toxic conversations, and maybe even setting boundaries, or paying attention to what boundaries may have been set because of your own toxic behavior, okay, or your own toxic response. The point that you're going to have to remember as you're transiting through the 21st to the early the 23rd, especially in Gemini, is that you may just get surface responses because of the intensity that you're bringing into the conversation. And if I may say this, right, this is leading up to towards the end of the week, beginning of next week. This is leading up to taking accountability and taking responsibility for not just what others have done, but also for what you've created in this particular experience or this particular relationship. Okay. So from the 23rd, at about, like I said, 8:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I am, you're going to find that, the moon is entering Sagittarius, okay? And with the moon entering Sagittarius comes a change in the energy that you're going to be experiencing on an emotional level, right? So the energy you're going to be experiencing from the early on the 23rd, right, to mid-afternoon on the 25th, as we enter into Capricorn, is going to be energy where you want to be blunt, you want to be honest. your intuitive perception about whatever particular situation unfolded while we were in Scorpio moon for those past 2.5 days. You may experience that you don't want to be fenced in. You need your space. You need your space to breathe. You need your space to think. Okay. And I feel like a lot of people are going to come into a position. A lot of people are going to come into a position within this energy, especially on the full moon, of letting go of toxicity. Okay. You're going to be experiencing letting go of the toxicity around you. And this is not just going to be external toxicity. Some people will definitely going to be experiencing what toxic behavior they themselves need to go ahead and get rid of. Okay. So, the full moon is happening on the 23rd. Give me a second. I just want to check here. My neighbor's dogs are barking, y'all, and they experience anxiety, which is interesting. So they're dealing with anxiety right now. They have like abandonment anxiety. So every time my neighbor leaves, they go into a space of anxiousness. Okay, so we have the full moon happening, okay? And the full moon is taking place at about 1:52 p.m. on the 23rd. So within that full moon energy, we are going to be in Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius' energy can be expansive energy because it is ruled by Jupiter. There's a fragrance of blunt honesty. And sometimes that blunt honesty does not really... it does not really come with the perfect timing, okay? So you can find that people are being more honest and open from the 23rd up until the 25th. So from Thursday until Friday, you can find an energy where people are being honest. Maybe where they may not have want to have the conversation, or maybe that conversation was a little bit intense. In that Scorpion moon, and maybe even a little bit surface. You can find that within Thursday the 23rd to Saturday the 25th, people were paying attention to the toxic patterns, the toxic behaviors, or you could have been paying attention to the toxic patterns and the toxic behaviors, but you can also see that there's a willingness for change here, right? There's a willingness for change, and some people are going to be bold enough to make that change, right? Especially change that's happening externally. So you can find a lot of external change, and a lot of people are going to be tapping in to that external change. On the aspect also of operating from a space of love, right? And from a space of what's best for them, okay? Now, Gemini's energy is going to require you to be able to communicate that change, okay? Now, what I can say is if that change is being communicated between the Sagittarius' energy, you're going to find that it's very blunt and very direct. So it's important for you not to take things personally, right? You're going to have to really tap into this energy as this is your perception of this and this is my perception of it, okay? So people are going to have their own perceptions about the things that are unfolding within the energy of that Sagittarius moon and the Gemini sun from the 23rd up until the 25th, okay? Now, on the 25th, we swap on over into Capricorn's energy, right? So on the 25th at about 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we flop on over into Capricorn's energy. So there's another dynamic of change that's coming in, right? So this Capricorn energy is going to require you and ask you to take responsibility, right? To take your responsibility for your part, okay? And it's also going to have an essence of karmic justice coming into play, cause and effect, right? So if you're not going to be taking accountability, no matter how passionate you were about your delivery back on Tuesday in Scorpio's energy, you may have communicated something, and because you were passionate about it, the way that you communicated it may not have been the most nicest or the most intact way, right? So your delivery, although what you were saying may have been true, the way in which you delivered it may have been a little harsh. So when you circle on back to Capricorn's energy on Saturday, leading in, so from Saturday up until Monday evening, when we head on out of Capricorn, what you're going to find is you're going to have to take accountability for your part that you play, and don't try to deflect, because that's not going to work very well. It's not going to work well for you to deflect between Saturday and Monday. You want to just go ahead, own what you said, even what you said in that Scorpion moon and that Sagittarius moon, okay? Because that Scorpion moon, that intense energy, and maybe even I want to say that hint of revengeful energy and purposely wanting to hurt somebody in your response could have been the undertone of your communication. And then when you hopped on over to the Sagittarius moon, you can also find that bluntness may not have been well received. So when you get over to Capricorn from Saturday to Monday, you're going to want to have to take responsibility and pay attention to the role that you played in the communication. All right. So don't be confused if you're not well received in this energy. Okay. You're going to have to backtrack, and there's an opportunity for you to take responsibility and transform how you speak to people, because people are setting boundaries. Okay. And you may be setting boundaries also. So just be mindful of that. From Saturday up until Monday, you have a lot of karmic balance, aka cause and effect. Okay. So the effect that you may be experiencing from Saturday through Monday is going to be the cause that you created from Scorpio's energy from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? When we jumped on over Thursday, when we jumped on over into Sagittarius, right? That bluntness that you may have came with also. So just know that whatever's unfolding once you get over the Capricorn's energy on Saturday, the 25th, until Monday the 27th, is going to be because of what you've created. So keep that in mind when you're responding to things, especially text messages. All right, this whole week, just be mindful of the text messages this whole week, because things may be misconstrued in any type of electronical communications this week. It is probably better for you to pick up your phone and have the discussion rather than to text things, okay? Because people will be taking something that you, or the tone that you may not have meant while texting, and then applying it when that's not really where you were, okay? So just be mindful of that. Your best communication this week should really be done either over the phone or face to face, okay? Try not to have your deep, in-depth conversations over text exchange this week, all right? So let's recap. Gemini is going to require you to really look at both aspects of yourself, okay? Your masculine and feminine aspect, or aka your light and dark aspect, aka your intellect versus your intuition, all right? This is going to give you an opportunity to be open to communication. Just keep in mind that communication is not just talking. Communication also has to do with listening and being able to learn, okay? So you're listening to understand, not listening to respond, is what Gemini's energy can offer to you this month. Now, recapping this energy, so from Tuesday, which I'm doing this video up until Thursday of this week, you do want to be mindful to dig deeper or not. You do want to take a temperature of the room. You do need to know that this is open for you to pay attention to the patterns, especially toxic patterns, especially patterns where it don't really serve the purpose. Like, you know, this conversation doesn't serve, or most of the timing of this conversation doesn't really serve the purpose of what needs to be said or the boundaries that needs to be set. So be mindful of that, okay? So when we hop on over into Sagittarius, okay, the 23rd, which is a full moon. Remember, you have energy where you can let go of some things in this full moon energy and create boundaries, right? But it is going to require you to be open to change, whether that's emotionally or intellectually or physically, but there's going to be some type of change required. You want to be mindful that as communication is happening within this Sagittarius's moon, sometimes it's not just what you say, but how you say things, because that bluntness and that intense energy from Scorpio and Sagittarius is going to circle back in Capricorn energy. So just be aware when the moon is in Sagittarius that your perception of this is your perception and other people's perception of this is their perception. So when you get on over to Capricorn, all right, on Saturday afternoon, when you get on over to Capricorn until Monday evening, you do need to mindful to take responsibilities for your role in things. Know that everything up until Capricorn's energy on Saturday is heavily influenced from what you started at the top of the week on Monday in Scorpio's energy, middle of the week on Thursday in Sagittarius's energy, and it's going to wrap it on up for you. So take accountability of your role. A lot of this is going to be karmic justice, cause and effect. The cause and the effect of what you did earlier this week, all right? So some people may be confused, but the confusion really is not going to help you in the end of the week, okay? And over the weekend. It's better for you to be open to see what role you played versus paying attention to what somebody else did, so you can get through this energy a lot more smoothly. If you focus on your role that you played and you take accountability for that, there is no argument, right? So if you're taking ownership, somebody can't argue with you if you're taking ownership, right? But if you're not taking ownership, there is going to be a lot of, I want to say, disagreeable energy over the weekend. So be mindful of that, okay? And let me just leave you with this take and this tip right here, right? Taking accountability and taking responsibility does not mean when someone approaches you with how they feel or what you did, right? To say, well, I did that because you did. Oh, okay, well, what about you? What about you? What about when you did this? That's not how you want to lead, okay? How you want to lead in this Capricorn energy is, you know what? I'm going to have to apologize for that. Or you know what? Let me think. Let me revisit that. Or you know what? I'm sorry that this was interpreted this way, but can I explain to you, maybe not using but, because but would cancel all of that out. However, can I explain to you where I was mentally or emotionally or what I was feeling? Why that may have come across that way. I own 100% that made you perceive it this way. However, that was not my intention. So it's better for you to come owning it and then explaining where you were, but don't come in projecting and not validating when someone else's may have been hurt, triggered, or felt misused, okay? Because the energy in Capricorn is don't misuse my love, don't misuse my trust, don't misuse my money, don't misuse any of that, all right? So with that being said, the opportunity for you to be able to set new boundaries this week is wide open. The opportunity for you to get closer to yourself and knowing your shadow side, as well as embracing your light side, and your shadow side is open to you, especially with this Gemini energy. Remembering communication is not just about speaking, but communication is also about listening and being open to grow. The overall consensus of this energy is this week, try not to do your communication via text message. Try to do it face to face or try to do it over the phone, but you don't want to try to have deep, heavy conversations in text messages this week, because that's going to cause a lot of confusion, okay? All right, so on that note, if you have not been checking me out on Instagram, you do need to do so, okay? It's for your inner voice and Instagram. Also, we are going into week nine of our mental and emotional alchemy, all right? We're learning about who we are and going through all of the 12 archetypes. Okay, so we started this in Aries season, and this is going to be wrapping up in Pisces season when we come to the end of the Zodiac Wheel. And week 9 is all about defining what success is to you. So hop on over to Instagram and you can watch all of the playbacks on Instagram, with the exception of week 7. For some reason it did not upload week 7, so I'm gonna have to redo that. Okay, it's a very, I want to say, what's the word? What's the best word that I can use? It's a non-forceful way of you being able to accept who you are and accept others for who they are also, because it's an experience. We're all having experiences, right? And if you can begin to operate from a place of experiences versus good or bad, or versus everybody's evil, you can have more control over you being the own guru, or being your own guru in your life experiences, okay? On that note, my love, I appreciate ya, and I will see you guys in next week, Astrology and Archetypes. Bye, my love.